right, I think we are now live. So, how are you doing? Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming to today. It's day 2 and manifestation, the only thing that accelerate and truly make your desire to come into reality. And this is the power of detachment. And I know how incredible most of you have shared your shift about what happened on day one when we talk about the turn your desire into reality and the power of manifestation of your desires. And I know how incredible it has been for you. So I'm not going to go into details about what we talk about day one, but all I need you to understand and what we're going to talk about here is how to actually really get through the moments when things are going to get tougher, when you're going to face the challenges, obstacles, and especially when you're going to have a certain stagnation when it's coming to going forward and really allowing the timeline, the physical timeline, to make those desires into manifestation in your 3D reality. Because it's one thing to do work energetically, emotionally, but it's another thing to actually really work with your physical self in order for things to adjust into the physical timeline. And this is what we're going to actually talk about today, so that you can absolutely understand the transitional phases that are going to take place in the moment when you're going to actually really call in those manifestation and also embodying the identity of the one who's actually really living already that reality of the person who manifested those desires. And again, if this is the first time in my channel, welcome. My name is Rahma and I am the founder of SOULICIOUS Academy, and I love empowering magnificent, beautiful souls, entrepreneurs, leaders, and change makers who are impact driven to truly get to remember their truth and create from their truth, and absolutely creating a purposeful life and create wealth with your mission of life and purpose. I'm just going to speak some absolutely amazing that we're going to talk in here. And if you hear some sound, someone screaming or etc., just please apologize. That might be one of my incredible children that I love so much. And yeah, so they can just stay put. And this is the power of just like, allowing things to happen in the way and how it's supposed to be happening. All right. So I know that some of you went and asked some question that how to know when the desire manifestation is actually taking place and happening. And this is what we're going to talk at the first place, where I'm going to talk about the desire contrast. On another way, I call them also desire shadows. That's how I love to call them most of the time, because whatever it is that you are manifesting, or whatever it is that you are intending to do in terms of your goals, in terms of your intention, in terms of anything or whatsoever that you truly want for yourself, and you're calling it in terms of your energy, in terms of your thoughts, in terms of your way of being, you will also actually call in the contrast of it. And let me just tell you an example so you can understand better. Let's say some of you desire to have a new income. Let's say you want to increase your income in terms of how much you're making currently in your life. Sorry for that. Then what you're gonna observe is that you're gonna find some people, sometimes they call in dates, they are coming, or they are either getting they're losing their job, or their business go bankrupt, or something happens, or clients no buying anymore, or they are just leaving, or etc., or this kind of a things. And what usually most of the people, when they're going through that phase of what we call that the old version of your identity is actually is actually living out and getting out, and the new identity is coming in. Usually what's happening during that phase, because that's the bridging process, what's happening is like most of the people go and think that maybe it's not working out, maybe nothing is function, maybe I shouldn't have done it, or maybe I shouldn't have taken that decision, or maybe I shouldn't have made that investment, and etc. Why? Because now we're observing whatever is that is no longer aligned with the new version of ourselves that we're calling in and embodying as the new identity. This is actually what's taking place. This is actually what's happening. And most of the time, people, when they're going through that desire contrast of what is it that you're calling in, you manifested it in your energy, and you actually really accepted it, acknowledge it, and you demanded the source energy and the entire forces of the universe that this is what I choose, that this is what I'm going to call in my life right now. It will also show you what's no longer serving you, what's no longer working for you in terms of a certain belief, in terms of a certain energy you are embodying in your career, or in your life, or even within yourself. And it will show you also maybe whatever it is that is no longer serving you and aligning with this version of yourself that you're calling in. And that's why you're observing those moments where you feel stagnated, you feel stuck, or maybe you feel like something is wrong with you. And I'm going to give you an example, and I think this will make more sense to a lot of us here, and especially when I'm taking that example directly from me. I remember there was a time in my life when I have decided that I was going to raise my income, and I put the number of it. And at that time, what happened is that I remember receiving an email from my insurance, and they told me that my insurance was like the triple of what I was paying. And at the same time, I was observing also the changes around me, like, my rent got increased. And also the restaurants around that I was going to eat, sometimes they started raising the prices. So what was happening in there is that everything was happening into the purpose of matching my new energy as the new identity of who I am, because now, as the person who wants to make a certain income, everything has to match that energy. So what happened is that, of course, as a human, I'm going to freak out, because it's normal. As a human, this is the purpose of life, this is the purpose of the growth of us being stretching and knowing that we're expanding and growing. So when I got the email that my insurance got tripled more than what I'm supposed to pay, of course I freaked out, and I started saying, oh my God, this is too much, I'm not paying this price, why, whatever. And usually what happened in there is that, of course, because it was going and push the button into my safety zone and uncomfort zone of my logical sense of me, my little human that is part of me and designed with me in order for me to live this life experience. And at that time I was freaking out, because it was the part of me that was not comfortable with the changes yet, that was thinking like, oh my God, why is this happening, right? And then at the moment, I just pinched myself and I was like, oh my God, it's happening. The shift is taking place. The manifestation is already on the way. Because will the person, the version of me who would like to make that certain income that I wanted to make, wouldn't enjoy making and paying that type of insurance that is like, higher prices? Wouldn't be the one looking for higher places that the rent is way adaptable to the income that she's making? Of course, yes. Wouldn't she enjoy going to those restaurants that are higher prices and eat around? Of course, yes. So you see, I realized that everything was taking place. So when you're going through that phase where you are seeing all the circumstances appearing in form of challenge, in terms of uncomfortable, you're not uncomfortable to those changes yet, is because the old version of you that is your current identity is actually stretching and expanding, and it's requiring that you to actually really take out of your comfort zone and fully align with the change of the new identity of you that is the higher, biggest version of yourself. So whenever you find yourself into that place of not understanding what's happening because you took a decision and the opposite of what is supposed to happen is showing you the contrast of what you didn't call in, just know you are in perfect alignment and everything is working out very well for you and all is good for you. And that's how I would like you to actually really go through that process of understanding and knowing that the shift is already taking place and the old is actually being taken out, leaving, even though it's going to bring some pain, even though it's not going to be comfortable. But that is okay because we're shedding off all the part of ourselves that is no longer serving us, all the part of ourselves that is no longer aligned with the new identity of the person who's actually living those desires as our reality. And this is what's bringing me also into and making you understand the power of detachment, because just know that when you are creating an intention or you are emanating a desire and you're choosing it and you're selecting that this is what I want in my life, and then you acknowledge the shift, the transitioning happening, and you understand that everything is perfectly working for you and you're perfectly aligned when the shift is happening, when the transition is happening, of the old and the new taking, of the old getting out and the new taking place. In here, what you are invited to do is absolutely detaching from the idea of our human self, and especially our logical sense of ours, from trying to control the process. So you're not just gonna be there and trying to see, oh, what am I supposed to do next? Oh my God, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should. No, we are not going to go there and trying to control things in a linear way on how we're thinking as a human, as our logical sense of ours. But you're going to absolutely surrender to the process. And when I say surrender to the process, it means that you're going to absolutely allowing yourself to be guided from that place, from your higher version of yourself. That version of yourself that you're embodying, you're calling in as your new identity, you're going to take action as that person. And you're going to allow yourself to be guided from that place of that frequency, of that vibration of the new identity, which means that you're no longer going to act as if, let's say, when things are getting harder and maybe you're losing clients or you're losing friends or maybe you're getting into divorce or something like that, then you're not going to hold into like, oh, I don't want to let go of this. You allowing everything that is supposed to go. If it's meant to stay, it will stay. But you're not going to be in control of trying to control it and saying, oh my God, maybe I should work things out, or maybe I shouldn't have. No, 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 no. You are absolutely surrendering to the process and you're going to be okay with everything that is going to be taking place. And that is the power of detachment. You're detaching from 3 points that I'm going to enlighten in here. So the first thing is that you're going to trust. And what I mean by trust, you're having faith on your own belief of that desire, that reality to come into your life. You know it's inevitable. You know it's already made for you. It's already pre-existent. And therefore, you're allowing yourself to observe it as your reality in your physical reality. So what you're going to do, you're going to trust into the process that you're okay. Everything is working out perfectly well for you, and you don't have to do much. The only thing you have to do is to say is for you to stay in alignment of believing that everything is already working out for you, that everything is absolutely perfectly well aligned, and you're going to dive into those moments, even though it's painful, even though it's uncomfortable, even though it requires you to let go a lot of you, and even the idea of the sense of I'm losing something, but you're not losing, you're gaining. Because I remember one of my clients, there was a time when they were saying that it's hard to process this loss. I said, no, you're not losing. You're letting go of the good so you can have the great coming to you. And this is how you have to see it, that this was serving me at a certain time, at a certain phase of my life, with the old identity of me, but it has to go because it's no longer aligning with this new identity that I'm calling in. And I'm okay of me letting go so that I can welcome the greatness that is way better than what I had, that is way better than what I think I'm losing, but actually I'm gaining. You see now? And it's crazy because as we speak, I know it's not easy. And especially when we have to go through the process of all this limiting belief that we're holding deep inside of ourselves, and especially having to maintain the vibration and the state of being of the person who knows that everything is working out, because life keeps on happening. And we're not going to say, like, oh my God, I'm going to just keep it so easily. Of course not. And this is where we ask for support, and this is where I help my clients. I'm supporting my clients to actually really understand the phase they're on, and holding the energy for them so that they can go through that phase of them understanding and having clarity and awareness, and fully allowing and process everything to go without having to feel like this sense of I am lost, I am confused. And even though you're confused, and even though you feel lost, it's okay, because it's part of the process. Because whatever is that in the middle of it, and I'm going to just show you what's happening in here. I'm going to just describe it here for you so that you can understand what's happening in there. Is that you can see here, I'm going to just write it here. So just hold on for a second. The time for me to just find the right blank pages so I can draw this for you. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I can work it. So you see what's happening in here is that you are here. Oh, sorry for that. You are here. You manifested your desire, and therefore your desire are on the way coming in into your physical reality in here. And then the old version is going out as the new version is coming in. So in here in the middle, that's where you're going to feel that uncomfortableness. Am I saying it even right? Yes, you're going to feel uncomfortable. And then therefore this is where the battle is going to be taking place. And therefore that's the moment where in here, this is what I call the bridging process. So the bridging process is where I support my clients and I help them to get through it so that they can actually really accelerate the manifestation of whatever it is that they're calling in, and and for them to actually really living it as their prison reality, right? So if this is you and you feel like you want to have a deeper support and you're going through that phase already, you can just comment below QSG, because we have a container special for that, a yearly container where I support my clients into it. But we have also different type of containers. You just have to just you can just comment support, and my team will reach out for you in order for you to understand, to help you get to know which phase you are, and helping you to get to where you need to go. Okay. And where you're actually meant to be. And I love saying that because that's the truth. So going back into the second point that I was talking about is that now, after trusting and knowing that everything is already working out, and you are completely giving that weight to the universe, to God, to the source energy, the power of all creation, and you letting it, you say, like, you know what, I'm letting you handling this, because I know you're going to allow it to manifest perfectly well. And however it's going to be, I'm okay, because I know this is your work. Now, my work is to keep working on myself, working on my limiting belief, working on everything that is no longer serving me, and staying into alignment of knowing that I am already held powerfully and everything is perfectly working for me. That is your job, to stay in alignment, trying to observe everything that is coming in terms of, even though it's in a form of circumstance, even though it's in a form of challenge, even though it's in a form of something that doesn't feel good, but you're allowing yourself to observe whatever it is that is no longer part of that alignment, letting it go and fully anchoring yourself back into alignment and allowing to receive whatever it is that is supposed to come in and welcoming it and letting go of whatever that is no longer serving you and part of your old version. Now, the second point is knowingness. So it's the point where you're buying certainty, where you're no longer doubting the process, because it's easy to say, I'm going to trust, and then something happened, it takes you off, you're going into confusion and lost again, and then no clarity. And by the way, there is these things that I call the clarity, confusion, clarity. And this is the process of the whole thing, because sometimes you can go in neutral mode as well during that battle on the middle. And then you're going to feel like you don't want to do anything. You don't, because it's changing you, that everything is changing around you. It's like your entire energetic center is changing. So it's merging with your energy, and it's merging also with your physical self, which is your human self. So everything that is no longer working in terms of your how you've been programmed and conditioned is going also to demand work of a lot of things that has to be removed, a lot of things that has to be shifted and changed and etc. So that's why sometimes we can shut off, like we feel like we don't want to do anything, we don't feel like doing anything. And in most process, sometimes you can go even you can be ill, you can be sick, that requires you to completely rest so your nervous system can work perfectly well and process the work that has to be done. And that was my case. Like, lately I remember when I started this live, because I know that there is a lot of things taking place right now in terms of my energy, in terms of my business, in terms of everything that is happening in my life. So I was going through that process when I started the live, and the second day, not even the second day, but prior even to the day where I started the lives, I started being sick, and I still showed up. But then my body was like, it's a must do. It's a must to do. You have got to rest. And I was like, forced. And sometimes the universe, the source of energy, will push you into forces, and especially when you're not aligning into the process, sometimes it will push you into the process and forcing you. So for example, if you are supposed to be resting and you're not resting fully, and you're still pushing working and etc., it will create scenarios where you will be into that energy so that the shift can actually take in place. But when I acknowledged that, I surrendered to the process. I knew what was happening, and I was like, okay, my body needs to rest. Fine. I'm going to allow myself. That's why I allow myself fully. Even after I got better, I allow myself to take even a whole week to rest even way more, so that I can come with my fullness and show up here and do this for you as my love to you, and as my commitment to you, to end this year powerfully and raise the vibration of the person who's going to be committed to create the most magnificent year of 2026. And I'm super, super excited for that. And yeah, so knowingness is to stay on your certainty, never doubting anything. Sorry. And knowing that everything is already taking place. And now the third part is celebration. When you come and celebrate, accepting that this is now who you are, this is now your new reality, and you are acting, doing, creating, and even feeling like that person who's actually now your new version, not your old self that is your current identity, but we're going to collapse time and calling in the new identity that is now what is that we're accepting is already taking place, and we're welcoming it to be part of the process and be part of every single sphere of ourselves, spiritually, energetically, emotionally, and even physically. And that's how you are going to embrace that new identity, by taking action as the person who knows that they're already living into the reality of their desire, even though you're not observing those desires manifested yet, but you know it's already done. So you stay into the trust, the knowingness of certainty, and going back and celebrating again, and by infusing yourself with this emotion of it, knowing that it's already done, and you feel so great to see it as your reality. So this is how the power of detachment is going to accelerate your manifestation, and also allowing you to really you know, to collapse time and living those desires as already manifested in your reality. So I'll be happy for you to let me know below the comments what was your biggest aha moment and what has been shifted in you, or even whatever it is that is actually in terms of your phases and you would like to share it with me. You can comment below and I will be more than happier to read them, and also helping you into giving you also my feedback towards that. So I'm super excited. Don't forget to like, to subscribe, and I'm so excited for the next day. I know I'm not sure if it's going to be tomorrow or after tomorrow, but I will let you know, and I'll be posting, and you can also follow me also on my other social media like Instagram, Facebook, and inside we have also a community inside of Facebook that is called the SOULICIOUS Academy community, global community, where I post everything, the information of everything concerning what I'm gonna do, and even it's a higher support where I share more even from the background as well, and being there more present is like a power of proximity. So I'm super excited. I cannot wait to read all your magnificent, incredible comments, and I'll see you for the next day, which I'm super excited about the topic in itself, which I will let you know. Mwah. I love you all.